So now I'm gonna show you how to do a tail. Same thing with the tail as for the mane. You want to have a clean, shampooed tail. And same thing with the bucket and the brush to get it wet. So you're gonna wanna start up at the top and focus in the back as well, because that's where you're gonna be grabbing the pieces from. And make sure when you're doing your horse's tail that the night before you really get in there and you scrub the back of the tailbone and the sides, because this is where it becomes very dirty and that's where you're grabbing from. Stand up, buddy. So I'm gonna show you what to do when you have a horse with very short pieces up here and they can't reach across. His are actually pretty good. His reach across nicely, but I'm going to show you a little trick that I use. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make 2 little braids on either side of the tail. So you're gonna grab hair here, maybe come up and part it into 3. You're gonna do a braid like you would in the mane. And again, about halfway down. Stand up, Costello. You're going to add in the yarn. But again, you're gonna be using black. Costello, stand up. Good boy. Now you're going to want to braid all the way down to the very end of the braid. Now again, his is long hair, but I'm sure you're only gonna have probably this much if it can't touch. So then you're gonna tie it off like a normal braid. And you're going to do the same on this side. So again, stand up. He says, I'm sorry, I'm 2. This is new for me. Never had my tail braided. Again, same sort of braid down the side, even pressure, so you get that nice tight braid. And you're going to continue down to the very end. I'm not going down to the very end only because he's got really long hair here, which is going to be nice to braid this summer. And tie it off again. Then you're going to take both pieces and you're going to want to leave. So say that the braid finishes here. You're going to want to have about that much yarn left over so that you have enough to pull across when you're braiding. Again, these pieces are probably going to only be about that long. That's what's going to happen when you have short pieces at the top of the tail. The braids will probably be about that long, but you'll have this to help you anchor the braid across. So you're then going to start the braid like so. I braid tails a little bit differently. I grab with this finger and then I hold my pointer finger down against the braid to keep it tight. Some people don't braid like that, but I actually picked this up from a lady in West Palm. She actually calls it, I don't know if I can say this, but the FU method, because you're grabbing with your middle finger on the piece underneath and then pushing your pointer down. She's a very funny lady. As we're getting down towards the end, these pieces are just going to get incorporated into the braid itself. Now you can see here, because we haven't washed the tail, how dirty it looks. And when you wash the tail, this ends up all nice and shiny and clean, and you can even see how dirty my fingers are. So you want to make sure that this is all scrubbed really nicely so that your tail at the horse show is nice and shiny and nice and black and doesn't look dirty. As far as the tail braid goes, sometimes you get these little loopies where it gets a little loose. So what you can do to get those tight is you can take, this piece here is coming from here. So all you're going to do is before you grab your next piece, you're going to tighten and then put across. And then grab a piece and then you're going to tighten, then put across. And then grab a piece. Costello, stand. tighten. You can see how that piece tightened there. Pull across. Again, you're going to tighten, pull across. And you want to grab even slices, tighten, pull across. You want to do this method, especially going down the tail, because the tailbone ends up getting smaller towards the bottom, so you want to have it tight down the entire tail. It's not my best tail, only because it's very dirty right now. So watch what happens to this piece when I pull. It tightens. Wasn't that loose, so I guess you can't see it that well, but I'm going to keep this one a little more loose so you can maybe see when I go to pull it. Right there. And don't be afraid as you're getting to the bottom if it's not, ooh, he doesn't like that. As you get to the bottom of the tail, you're going to want to keep wetting it so that it's easy for you to grab pieces, because I find when it gets dry, it gets harder. So watch this piece here. I'm going to tighten and then bring across. So you can see we're done here. It's not my best tail, only because it's pretty dirty. It's a little hard on my hands, so it's a little hard separating the pieces from the dirt. But you always want to braid to the bottom of the tailbone. His tailbone finishes right here. So no matter on what horse, bottom of the tailbone, you don't want to be stopping there. And then you want to continue the braid. Now as far as pinwheels go, you don't want a very big pinwheel, so you just want to about braid like 3 or 4 pieces down, add in the yarn, braid it over 1 or 2 more times. We don't like big fat pinwheels, we just want a little pinwheel. So you're gonna tie it off just like you tie off one of the top braids. Stand, buddy. Stand, buddy. I double knot it just so it stays nice and tight. You're gonna see the hair will separate at some point, whether it's there or here. This just looks like the most natural spot it wants to separate. So you're gonna grab this, pull it through the middle, and you're going to pull right at the base. You're gonna do a little flip like so. And then once again, pull through so that when it flips up, the yarn is going to meet up with the front of the braid. So I'm going to go behind the braid here. I'm going to grab a piece like that, pull it across, and again for the other side, pull it across. And then you're going to tighten it like that, double knot it, single knot it again, and then you're going to take, if you can come to this side and see, the bottom piece. I'm going to go up, I'm going to grab a chunk of hair, pull it down. Oh, stay, buddy. Costello, stand. You're going to do it again. You're going to bottom piece. And sometimes you'll see some pieces still sticking out and you're just going to go in, hook them and pull them down. Sorry, I'm going to change spots here. And now the other side. So bottom piece again. Hairs. You're going to loop only as much as you can take. You don't want to take too much. It becomes a big mess. Again, everything looks more apparent here with the gray, but you won't be seeing that when it's the same color. This big knot here will be hidden because it'll be black. So just like that, you're going to pull the hair down on either side. Sometimes too, this yarn, if it becomes too small, you can always tie 2 yarns together to make it longer, or just cut a longer yarn. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take this yarn, you're going to double knot it, you're going to go around, and you're going to make sure that the yarn is underneath the bottom of the pinwheel, and you're going to pull nice and tight, and then you're going to single again, and single even once more. Then you're going to go underneath with your scissors, and you're going to make sure to cut nice and close. And that is how you do a pinwheel. So now also the last thing you're going to do to finish off the tail, you want to make sure that this stays nice and tight. So you're going to grab a piece of yarn, you're going to double it like this, you're going to put this across the middle of where you started. And you're going to, again, double knot, single, single. And then that will help to keep the base of your tail nice and tight. And that is how you do a tail. I will now show you how to do a wraparound. They're usually quicker than the pinwheel and just as fancy. So now, sorry, it's a little messy now, but I'm just going to finish off the bottom of the tail. I'm going to show you how to do a wraparound. So you're definitely going to want to braid this braid a little bit more than the pinwheel. It needs to be longer so that it can go around the base of the tail. So he says, I'm bored. So now when you feel like you've got a good long piece, you're going to add in your yarn. And then I usually at this point measure it to see. You're going to want to make sure when you wrap it, it's got to go through here. So you want to make sure it's pretty much able to touch here. And it's still a little too short, so we're just going to braid down about 3 more times. Again, finish off the braid like you usually do. Wrap it around, knot it, and then single knot it. And this was the last spot. The last hair that I took was on this side, not this side, so you're going to want to wrap it away. If I wrap it this way, you end up getting a loop here. So you want to wrap it on this side, the opposite side of the last piece that you took. So you're going to wrap, going to grab it, pull through, go down to the very bottom of the braid, tug through like so. It's literally just a wrap, pull down, and then you're going to stick your pull through just in the middle of the braid somewhere, it doesn't matter where, just something, a base to hold it. Pull one of the sides, and then double knot, single knot, single knot, single knot. And that will help to keep the wrap in place, like so.